I think that if you just refuse, I'm just not going to prospect, I'm just going to try to do this on Canva, on social media, I think that your days in this business, it's going to be very, 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 very difficult. Have you found that to be true? And specifically the first 2 months of like social media, and let's just call it the last 2 months of direct outbound prospecting, have you been able to set appointments, meet with real sellers, have real conversations, and have you been able to have more of those than you were through social media?
Yeah, 100%. So I've had conversations and I have leads now that those people never would have found me. I never would have found them on social media. And so it's really been neat to see the past 2 months, all of the contacts that I've made and all the leads that I've generated, all of the appointments that I've gone on, which haven't led into any listings yet, but the amount that I have learned through that experience has been huge and so worth it. And none of that would have happened if I wasn't calling.
Yeah, and that's just the truth, and thank you for that, because that's really what I'm trying to get at is any new agent that watches this that's just struggling with accepting, like, man, I got major call reluctance. I'd rather do anything but that. What I'm trying to explain is that your first 2 months, let's put some context around what you just said. Your first 2 months doing social media, how many leads and how many appointments did that get you?
0 and 0.
Okay, so 0 and 0. And then last 2 months for context, how many leads did you add into your database of homeowners, real homeowners that you've had real conversations with, that have real motivation to sell? How many of those have you gotten in the past 2 months?
Well, my database has grown by about 100
A
contacts.
hundred.
Yeah, yeah, in the past 2 months. And I've probably got 6 or 7 that are looking to maybe sell within the next couple of months. So, I've got some warm and hot leads in there as well. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's been huge. If you zoom out
Yeah.
for a second, right, and really look at what you've done, you can just, the evidence is there. And all I look for is evidence, and you have these 4 months to compare to. You got 2 months doing social media, you got 2 months making calls. And in
Mhm.
2 months, you've generated 100 opportunities for yourself that otherwise you would not have gotten any. And so why do you feel that so many agents struggle with this so badly? As far as, I just don't want to do that activity, knowing they can hear it time and time and time and time again from people like yourself that are getting great results like yourself, but they still refuse to do it. Why do you think that is?
It's a mental game. Um,
Yeah.
and if I didn't know that going into it, I may have quit quickly. It's hard. There's a lot of rejection. There's some people that want to hang up on you or be mean or whatever. And I think you can let all of your negative self-talk get in your head and talk you out of doing it. I mean, the very first time I hit dial, I'm using Vulcan, and I hit dial, I was terrified. And I was like, okay, well, the worst that happens is they pick up and I hang up. They're not
Yeah.
going to know who I am. So it's scary, getting started in doing that. And so,
Yeah, it is. It is scary. And I try to bring some like some experience to help people get through call reluctance. And sometimes it's more successful than others. But like, here's the more evidence is that what we do know is, and I know you've heard this before, I'm going to share this with the audience that don't. I talk about this in our coaching calls all the time, that really, if you really look at the path between where we are today, us humans, and where we want to go, the massive gap in between that has to be filled with the pain and the rejection and heartache. Because otherwise, if you make things very, very comfortable in anything in life, I just don't think that leads to the results that most people, Michelle, say they want. And so when you say that to me, and most people are here, well, see, Brandon, that's why I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with that rejection. What I would coach somebody to, which I've coached you on, is that's actually what you're looking for, is that being uncomfortable, getting rejected, because you're growing, your skills are growing, you're strengthening your mindset. And through that path of doing led you to 100 leads into your database. Just imagine, fast forward a year from now, which I love to have you on the show again in a year from now to see what that would manifest into. But that's the mindset and the approach that I would take, is that all of the reasons we tell ourselves why we don't want to make these calls are the exact thing that will lead us to the results that we want. Would you agree with that conceptually?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that kept going in my head was, hearing you talk about that and just pushing myself to be uncomfortable and saying to myself, it's okay if I'm scared. It's okay if I don't know what to say. It's okay if I mess up. And just to keep pushing through that. And I've really seen how that has transformed other areas of my life and pushing myself to be uncomfortable, whether it's with, fitness or other goals that I have. And always just at this point analyzing where I'm at and saying, am I pushing myself enough? Am I comfortable or am I uncomfortable? So it's really sort of overflowed into all areas of my life at this point.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And I guess just to add one more thing on that, and then I promise I will digress. But the thing is, like, that's the point, is when we feel uncomfortable, that we have to, the affirmation that I think you're saying is, not only is do I have to push past this, this is the point. I'm supposed to feel this way. It's normal. It's okay. Not only is it okay, if I wasn't feeling this, then I would think something was wrong. But because I'm feeling this, I know I'm doing the right thing. And so that's just a different mindset. So let's break down your schedule, right? So what does that look like these days when you wake up? How are you going about generating new business?
Yeah, so the mornings for me are typically I'm up between 5:30 and 6. I try and have a few minutes of quiet time, whether it's
Yeah,
coffee or reading or a podcast or whatever, before I have to get my kids up. Pretty much from 6:30 to 8:30 is kid time, getting them out for school, lunches and breakfast and all that stuff. And then I try to get on the phone right about 8:30, and then I'm calling from about 8:30 to 10:30. At 10:30, I take a break, and every day I've been meeting with my role play partner, and we role play for about 30 to 45 minutes. Then I'm back on the phone, usually trying to do follow up with my current leads, and then take a quick break for lunch. And then I'm usually doing either the coaching calls or tasks, working on CMAs, other parts of the business in the afternoon.
I love it. I love it. And have you found that through following that schedule, it's you feel like that you control your time, and you're getting enough done, and you could still be a great mom at the same time? Are you finding both of those to be true?
The schedule definitely helps. I mean, I'll be honest, it is hard trying to feel like you can do it all because you just can't. But time blocking and having my goals and being really organized helps to lessen that feeling of overwhelm for sure.
Yeah.
Before, I felt like I was kind of running around doing all these different things, but I didn't know what direction I was going into. I didn't know where I was in terms of meeting my goals, but now I do. I've got my goals up here on my board in front of me. I got my vision board over here. And so I can see and track and know exactly what I've done each day and each week to get closer towards my goals. So
Yeah.
the time blocking and having my schedule organized really, really helps.
Yeah. I love it. And who are you calling? What sources do you find that you really like to go after, that you've really honed in on?
Mainly absentees right
Oh,
now.
cool.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, like I think like a lot of people, we don't have a lot of FISBOs, we don't have a lot of expireds. So I kind of got onto the absentees pretty quickly, and I really liked working with them. There seemed to be a little bit less frustration and anger with them in terms of, they're reacting to me calling, which was nice getting started. But yeah, they've just been really easy to work with so far. So
Yeah. And probably because, just for context for newer people, that lead source traditionally is a little bit further up the conversion cycle. So
mhm.
you don't have as many agents calling those, if any at all. But the trade-off is that they take a little bit longer to nurture, to convert into an opportunity. Whereas a for sale by owner, the competition is so high. And the reason it's so high is because the conversion cycle is very short. So for any new agent watching this, always remember that there's this trade-off, expireds at the bottom of the funnel, the hottest low-hanging fruit, but it's the hardest lead to convert. Most of the agents are going after those. They're getting a lot of calls. You have to have high skills. And then the further you go up that funnel, and that's why I like absentee owners, because they're right in the middle. They have motivation to sell. Is that where you're getting, would you say, most of your seller leads that go into the database these days?
Yeah, like 95% probably. I have worked with a few FISBOs, and that's where I've gone all on all the appointments that I've had so far. Maybe 8 or 9 have been the FISBOs and the expireds. But yeah, 90 to 95% is absentees.